Alright, in this video we are going to see how to create this design, which is box design, in HTML and CSS. So here, just to give you a summary, the topic that we are going to cover is box shadow, the pseudo element before and after, and the text stroke. So let's just start from scratch, and I'll remove all the CSS and start from scratch. Cool. So for the HTML we just need a div with class box, and for the CSS I have used the CDN Google font, which is Poppins, and I have implemented for all element Poppins should be added, and for all element I have removed margin and padding and made the box sizing border box. Now just let's just see, this is how it looks. So for the background, what we have to do is we have to make the color as gray, or we can make this black. So instead of writing the hard, what we'll do is we'll create a variable, CSS variable. So for that, root, and to create a CSS variable, what we do is we'll define the variable color and the color. Actually, this is a hex code for black, not the dark black but a fainted black or a tinted black. Now we have to call this variable with this. The variable that we have declared is CLR. Now the same would work. Let's design the class box div. Testing. We are going to give 320 pixel, and the height that we are going to give here is 450 pixel. I want you to note the width and height because we'll be using the box shadow width and height with these numbers. Now it won't show up until we give background color. Let's just make this white, and we want to make the box to be at the center. So in that case, what we do is we'll use display flex, align item center, and justify content center. Now it's at the center of the screen. To vertically align, what we need to do is we need to give the container, here in this case it's body, we have to give the height 100% of viewport height. Now it's vertically aligned. The next thing what we have to do is, since we need to add a h2 or whatever heading, we'll make this 01. Let's just make this 08, and we want this heading to be at the center. Again, we'll use the same trick which we have implemented, display flex, align item center, and justify content center. Now it will be at the center. Now we'll call the h2. Since there is one h2, I'm just using it directly, so it's recommended to call it with the container. Now we can give font size of 10 rem or 10 em. By default 1 em is 16 pixel, and I want to give the color as with the variable. So why I'm doing this is, if I want to change the color, let's say some random color, the background and wherever I have used the variable, it would get changed. That's the reason we have used this CSS variable. It's very useful. Now what we do is we'll use the text stroke. So here the text stroke, we have to give the width first and then the color. Again, variable. I'm not going to say variable again and again. When I say color, just make sure that it's coming from variable, and we have to make the color as transparent for the heading, and only the text stroke will be visible right now. Now we need to focus on the pseudo element. We will be calling the box and the pseudo element before, and we can give the width as 80 pixel and height as 80 pixel, and let's see the background color for right now. Just to see, we'll make this red. And to make this pseudo element work, it's necessary to add this content property, and we'll use position to align. I want it to be aligned on the top right, so top minus 40 pixel, left minus 40 pixel. Now you'll see. So since the box, what happens is we need to make this pseudo element parent. The pseudo element's parent is actually the box. So to align this box inside this box container, what we need to do is we need to give position relative over here. So what happens is whenever we use absolute, it's recommended to use the parent, to call the parent. So here in this case the pseudo element parent is box, and we need to give the parent position relative. If we don't make this, what happens is right now the parent is default parent is body. So whenever we give position absolute, the default parent is body, so it's applied to it. So to stop that, we'll call the pseudo element, and pseudo element's parent is box, and we'll make this position relative. Now we have to make this border radius 50%. For that, we can have a rounded box. It's not a box anymore. A rounded design, a rounded div. Now what we need to do is we can give the background color same as the background color of the body, and now we'll be using the box shadow. So the understanding of box shadow, so this is X position, this is Y position, and this is the color. So we'll use the same color. So the X position is 0, the Y position is 0 right now. This is how it looks. So this is 0 starting from 0 and it ends in 320. So X position 320 pixel. Now the shadow would be at here. The same way, since we can use shorten property, so the shorten property we can make for the height, this is 0 and this is 450. So we can use a shorten property, X to be 0 and Y to be 450. 450, actually it's a pixel. Testing. I don't know whether my mic works or not. It just gives a very light blink. Cool, let's continue. Now what we'll do is we'll just copy the same thing and with the shorten property. Now this time from X 320 pixel. Now we have a pseudo element, and these are the shadows of this pseudo element. Now what we do is we'll call again a pseudo element which is after. As said, to make this work we need this content. Now we'll use the position absolute. When I say inset 40 pixel, it means top right, left, bottom 40 pixel. I have specifically specified here top and left. When I say inset, that means top, right, left and bottom is 40 pixel. Now let's add border radius, border, let's say 4 pixels solid, and the color is actually the way from the variable. Cool. Now what we do is we need a span, we need a support to have the mark over here. So for that, what we do is we'll add 4 times 1 2 3 4. Now we need to call the span which is inside the box. We'll give the position, we'll give the width and height same. We have 80 pixel height and 80 pixel, background red. So this is how it looks. Now what we need to do is we'll use the position absolute top 0 left 0 and we order it 50 percentage. We can make this minus 20 as well. Or no, this time we don't need. So we need a border. So for that what we'll do is border 4 pixel solid the variable. Now it's applied on all the sides. We'll make this transparent and we want the border to be applied only on the right side. So 4 pixel solid now we can use the transform rotate property, which is 45 degree. Cool. Now what we can do is we can make this color which is white. So it's better to give the left and right as minus 20 pixel because I'll show you in a minute. We need to make this little bigger. So I think we need to adjust the sizes for this before. Let's try. The actual adjustment lies in this inset. Instead of 80 we have to make this 40. Sorry, instead of 40 we should make this 20. And now we can make this 80. Now this is coming out of the box, so to avoid that we can make overflow hidden, and we can make this color as white. Now we need to play with the Z index. So we have a pseudo element which is this, and we have a span tag which is this. Now we need to understand one thing. The box should come top, so we'll make the Z index 5, and then we have a span tag. We'll have a Z index 4, and here you got the design. So this is actually the pseudo element and this is the span tag. So you have to make the pseudo element top, and just below we need to apply span tag. So let's just get into the code. Z index as 2, and for the pseudo element one. Here you go. Now here we have 4 span, and all of the 4 spans top and left properties minus 20 pixel. So now we need to call each of them. So we have a box, and inside the box we need to call a span tag and child. Likewise we have 4, 2, 3 and 4. Now this is the first one with the rotation property. We need to apply similarly for all, but the values would be different. So for the second span what we need to do is we need to give bottom and right. The same way, actually it's left. it's over here. And for this one we can make this right, and for the top right we can make this top right. Sorry, it's we have just make this right. Cool. Now it's just the rotation 130, I guess 130 for 130-degree rotation, or we can even adjust it 135. The same way we have to fix all. So this is third one, 225, and then we have this bottom left 315. That's it. Now if you like to change the color, we can change the color over here. If you want this to be red and anything as you like, you can change the color. So to make the summary, what we have learned is we have learned how to add text stroke to the text, and we have used pseudo element, and most probably have learned the text shadow. For one pseudo element we have applied 4 text shadow. The property are X, Y, and the color. And the third one that we have learned is to give the border to a circle with the rotation property, transform rotate. And this is 45-degree, and the second one is actually this 315, and appropriately I'll leave the source code in the description so that you can follow along and practice. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening. Meet you tomorrow with another video. Have a great day.